Count Xavier Dupont de Ligonnès was a wealthy businessman with a wife, Agnes, 4 loving children, Arthur, Thomas, Anne, and Benoit, and a beautiful home in Nantes, France. Outsiders would believe their lives perfect, but after a missing person report, lodged by close relatives, quoting a strange letter they had received, and further reports by concerned neighbours, an ensuing investigation would see this all come crashing down. Agnes and the 4 children Arthur, Thomas, Anne, and Benoit, as well as the 2 family Labradors, were found murdered. The family had been covered in quicklime, wrapped in burlap sacks, and buried in the garden of their home. Autopsies would later reveal the family had been drugged and shot while they slept. Xavier, on the other hand, had vanished, and the gun used in the murders was one that Xavier had inherited from his father's passing only 3 weeks prior. It was found the lease on the house had been terminated, all bank accounts closed, and house emptied. Agnes's employer and the children's schools were notified the family was allegedly departing to Australia. The Dupont de Ligonnès family's case would captivate and horrify the public with its perplexing details and spark a major manhunt and an international arrest warrant. So what led to this point? Some believe it's due to financial difficulties, as Xavier is allegedly quoted emailing his mistress saying, quote, "I'm ruined, at rock bottom, like never before. I am awake almost every night with these morbid ideas. Burning down the house after giving everyone sleeping pills, or killing myself so that Agnes gets 600,000. In any case, my life will end in the next few months if I don't get 25,000 euros immediately. Most of the time I am not in a dream but in a nightmare, and I can't escape except of course by doing something radical and final." However, there is another letter, the one that helped spark the investigation, one that was written by Xavier and sent to his relatives. It paints a much different picture. In English, it reads as the following, quote, "Hi everyone, huge surprise. We have to leave urgently for the US, due to a very particular set of circumstances that we will explain below. You're receiving this letter by conventional post because for the next few years, we can't communicate any other way. No emails, no texts, no phone calls, for safety reasons. When you read this letter, we will no longer be in France, and won't be able to return for an as of yet determined period of time, a few years. You must be wondering what's going on. Here's the story. At least as much as we're allowed to tell you. This letter is the only correspondence we're allowed to write, which might be good news for some of you, and it has been checked before being sent to you. When we started our company in Miami in 2003, we were put in contact through the person who helped us start the company with the DEA, Drug Enforcement Administration, a sort of American drug squad with agents on the ground in several countries, who were looking for a French national to infiltrate the French nightclub scene to obtain information about drug trafficking and money laundering networks without drawing attention to themselves. I found myself in a different city every evening with a legitimate reason to make contact with nightclub bosses to invite them to be listed in the leisure section of the RDC, so I was the ideal candidate. So once I was tested and briefed, I accepted my mission of working incognito for the DEA under the condition that I maintain secrecy, which includes, even more importantly, the children. So that's the real reason why we returned to France instead of settling in Miami, and not due to vacations that are supposedly dangerous for children. Those who never swallowed this bogus reason can rest assured they were right, LOL. This has allowed us to build up our official business activity. Xavier goes on to reference a website he's made for nightclubs so that they can feature in it, and to have an unofficial monthly income, since this official activity did not bring in enough money to cover our expenses. Moreover, even with this cash boost, we have experienced temporary financial difficulties from time to time, as you all know, and we'd like to take this opportunity to once again thank Emmanuel and Bertram, who bailed us out in a timely manner by acting as our bankers. Everything has gone according to plan in the nightclubs for the last 7 years, until now. With the information that I have collected in this time, I have become a key witness in an upcoming trial involving major international drug trafficking kingpins. The trial will have to take place in the US in the next few years. The date has not yet been determined. What complicates matters is that certain tips had recently led us to believe that my cover may have been blown, and unfortunately, we received confirmation of this yesterday. Therefore, the situation has now become potentially dangerous for us here, and has required us to take emergency measures. When I first went undercover, I accepted that I might be placed into the Federal Witness Protection Program. This is what we have to do now. And we're not doing it with any excitement, but because it's necessary and there's no way around it. So we've been taken into protective custody of the US government and transferred to the US, and we have new identities, which must, of course, be kept secret. By the time you read this letter, we will officially no longer exist as French citizens. We will be US citizens, living in the US like any other citizen, except we will be forbidden from communicating with our family and friends for an undetermined period of time, at least until the trial is over. This gives us some advantages and disadvantages. Advantages: absolute safety. The US government is taking care of us financially. Living in the US. Disadvantages: sudden rush departure in total secrecy, without being able to put our affairs in order. No contact with you for a long time. Impossible to let everyone know. All electronic communications has to be ceased immediately. The hardest thing, there is some tension with the children, who couldn't tell their friends and are forbidden from using Facebook and other online networks, but it's okay really, they understand. We had to give up our dogs. Luckily, someone took both of them, so they won't be separated. We're relying on each of you to carry out the tasks that we have assigned you below. We hope we haven't asked too much of any of you. We know we can count on you. Xavier goes on to designate different tasks, which would be clearing out the house, or taking and selling his things, or designating who would get what of his stuff. And that's pretty much the end of that letter. So if you want to read that, I will attach a link below, but we'll move on to the timeline that police have put together. Police were able to put together a timeline leading up to the incident. In March, Xavier had purchased rifle bullets and visited a local shooting range 4 times between March 26th and April 1st. A receipt from a DIY store located 3.5 hours away had also been recovered from the family home. The receipt detailed the purchases of large bin liners and a box of adhesive plastic paving slabs. On April 1st, the oldest child, Arthur, was supposed to leave for college, but did not show up to the pizzeria he worked at to collect his wages. On this same date, Xavier purchased cement, a shovel, and a hoe. The next day, on April the 2nd, Xavier purchased 4 10-kilo bags of lime from various stores in Nantes. April 3rd, a neighbor speaks to Agnes and sees Xavier putting large bags into his car. Agnes, Xavier, and 3 of the children also attend a restaurant and go to the cinema. At 10:37 the same night, Xavier leaves this message on his sister's voicemail. Quote, "We spent our Sunday evening in the cinema together, then in a restaurant, and we've just got back. I'm just calling to ask if it's too late to speak to you on the phone, and now I see it's gone to voicemail. But I was surprised. You spoke to me about Bertram, who was getting ready for his flight." "Huh? But I thought he'd only just arrived. So I was just a bit surprised. Anyway, sending you my love. If it's not too late, call me back or send me a text and I'll call you. Okay, I'm gonna put the kids to bed. Say hi to everyone. See you soon. Maybe." Monday, 4th of April. Anne and Benoit do not turn up to school, citing illness. The children's friends become concerned when they fail to contact Anne or Benoit, and hear a rumour that the family is leaving for Australia, but do not receive a reply online or through text. Xavier gets in touch with his sister Christine, and they speak for 20 to 30 minutes. Christine reported she did not pick up on anything odd during their exchange. That night, Xavier and his son Thomas visit a restaurant. Neither of them speak much, and Thomas begins to feel unwell. Investigators believe by this time, Xavier had already murdered his wife and 3 children on the 3rd or the 4th of April. though the family disputes Agnes was murdered on this day, as they claim she was sighted at the front of the house on April the 5th, during midday and 7 p.m. Moving on to April 5th, a debt collector visits the family home in an attempt to recover 20,000 euros, but no one answers the door. Thomas also spends the afternoon with a friend and plans to stay when Xavier calls him and says Agnes has been in a cycling accident and he needs to return home. Thomas's ex-girlfriend reports speaking with Thomas on Facebook while he was with his friend, and his writing seemed odd, and states on the 4th of April, Thomas looked lonely in class. Neighbours report the dogs had been howling for 2 nights before it stopped, and the dogs aren't heard from again. April 6th, the friend Thomas had spent the afternoon with contacts him through text and receives a message, "I'm not coming to yours, I'm ill," and then, "Really ill, I'm not coming to class." Arthur's girlfriend also visits the house on the same day after growing concerned after not hearing from him. She says the light was on the first floor, but when she knocked on it, no one answered, and the 2 dogs did not bark. April 7th, the friend that Thomas had spent the afternoon with receives another text from Thomas. "I'm out of battery, my dad's looking for a new charger for me," and communication ceases. Xavier loads his car with large bags and makes return trips, and a neighbour insists she saw Agnes on this date, despite investigators placing her time of death on the 4th of April. 2 years later, another friend of Agnes would come forward, saying she too had seen Agnes alive and shopping on the 7th or 8th. April 8th. Investigators track the family computer's IP address and report Xavier posted on an online Catholic forum, and also sends an email to his sister Christine's husband, saying, "Everything's fine, Bertram. You'll hear more detailed news soon through Christine. Bye for now, all the best, Xavier." Xavier would also message his mother and sister, though the details of this message are not disclosed. It should be noted, later, online users would attempt to retrace Xavier and Agnes's digital footprint, and found Xavier on a Christian forum, La Site Catholique, where he questioned the meaning of sacrifice and had become increasingly aggressive, eventually being banned from the forum. April 11th, Anne and Benoit's school receive an official letter signed by Xavier, confirming the rumours that the family is moving to Australia due to urgent professional reasons. Agnes's employer also receives a similar letter signed by Agnes, but they are unable to reach her by phone. Xavier's family received the letter transcribed in the beginning of the video. The letter is unsigned and dated the 11th of April. Xavier then books a night at the Hotel Premier Classe, paying for it with his credit card. April 12th. Xavier spends another night at a different hotel, paying again with his credit card. April 13. Concerned neighbours contact the police after noticing the house's shutters closed for over a week, and Agnes's car parked on the street. Xavier books another hotel room in a town he had lived in during the 1980s. Xavier also contacts a former girlfriend, but they do not meet. April 14th. Xavier withdraws 30 euros from an ATM and stays at another hotel, where he is seen on surveillance camera. This is the last known sighting of Xavier. April 15th. Xavier checks out of the hotel and abandons his car. April 29th. The police carry out a search in the VAR department and on June 23rd search 40 natural caves, but find nothing. Following over 800 tips, police attempt to contact Xavier's old friends and spends 2 years attempting to find a German woman who almost married Xavier in the early 1980s and continued contact with him. A German program, Case Number Unsolved, actually attempts to find her, but is shut down due to privacy laws after Xavier's sister Christine and her husband file a notice as their personal emails were used in the program. On the 2nd of May, 50 police searched for Xavier's body in the old Pic Martin lead mines in Var, as another family was found murdered there in 1981, but found nothing. In June 2013, a body is found 20 kilometers away from where Xavier was last seen. After performing an autopsy, the police stated, at this moment in time, it is not the body of Xavier Dupont de Ligonnès, without giving any more details. On April 26, 2015, bones were discovered on a hiking trail close to the place where Xavier was last seen. Police state the bones were located in what they believe to be a survival camp, and find an empty wallet, a lighter, a pair of glasses, a sleeping bag, a magazine, and a bill dating from 2011. After performing DNA analysis in May, it is stated that the body is not Xavier Dupont de Ligonnès, and the identity of the person is not known. In July 2015, a journalist receives a photograph of Arthur and Benoit sitting at a kitchen table. On the back of the photo, "I'm still alive," is written. Neither the sender nor the person who took the photo can be identified. In January 2018, police receive a tip from worshippers in a monastery claiming they've seen Xavier there. Armed police raid the monastery, but have difficulties gathering information from the monks as they were bound to a vow of silence. After 2.5 hours, they are unable to find Xavier and believe the tip to be a case of mistaken identity, as one of the monks bore resemblance to him. On the 11th of October 2019, Interpol in London informed French authorities a man booked a flight for Paris to Glasgow with a stolen passport. French authorities failed to detain the man as the passenger makes a last-minute flight change. Arriving in Glasgow, Scottish authorities arrest the man and tell the French authorities they're confident they have their man. But after fingerprinting and a DNA test, they find it's not Xavier, but a 69-year-old Portuguese-born Frenchman. The man was released and revealed his passport had been stolen in 2014, but since that time he'd acquired a legal replacement and had been using it regularly. The man was released without charge. Over the years, police have received over 900 tips of visual sightings but have been unable to find Xavier to this day. The official police theory is Xavier killed his family and either fled or committed suicide, but there have been several challenges by Xavier's family. The first being the immigration story put forward by Xavier's sister Christine. Christine is quoted saying in March 2012 that, basically, Xavier and his family left for the United States because their safety was threatened in France. The bodies under the patio can't be those of Agnes with the children. She believes that information leaked to the media originates from sources with an interest in making the family disappear. And in 2013, Christine and her husband also reference an email sent by her brother Xavier and received by his two friends in July 2010. In it, he states, he wrote of accidents which may fall upon his family, and ended with the words, quote, "So I hope that even after a police investigation, my parents, my brothers and sisters will never be led to believe that I intentionally caused those accidents, even if the evidence is strong." Christine has also posted photographs of the niche where the bodies were found and believed the small space of 1.2 meters or 4 feet means the murderer would have to work on their hands and knees without long tools such as a shovel and a hoe. She also states there was no displaced earth found in the garden, meaning the person burying the bodies would need to move 5 tons of earth by hand and did so with leaving no trace of earth. Christine continues by saying Xavier was plagued with back and neck problems and could not physically perform such a task, as well as leave no trace of blood, skin cells or DNA in such a small area. Xavier's family and their lawyers have stated, quote, "We don't even know when the victims were killed. The autopsy points to death between 10 and 21 days before their discovery. Such imprecision is truly astonishing. In reality, nothing is certain in this affair, other than the fact that some bodies were found at 55 Boulevard. Investigations were carried out, but all that they have allowed us to ascertain is that the bodies share the same DNA. No analysis has compared this common DNA with that of Agnes. Furthermore, my client confirms the body's heights and weights do not correspond to known dimensions of the family members. In my opinion, this constitutes negligence during the autopsy, but the autopsy allows Christine and Genevieve to step into the breach. What I also know is that one man cannot dig that hole under the patio. Even a man blinded by rage and hatred, 2.5 cubic meters of earth was displaced. The affair is based on the idea that Xavier killed his family before burying them. No other line of inquiry has been explored. I don't know who killed this family. Nothing about their lives would lead me to believe that anyone would have it in for them to this extent. That is the conclusion of my clients. Since no one could have killed them, the fact is, they are not dead. And that's where we are with the Dupont de Ligonnès family. I hope you enjoyed it. Please let me know what you think. There's so much to unpack here. I'll put some links in the description for you to check out for more information. And please make sure to like and subscribe if you did enjoy it. Thank you.